Hello, this is CrazyMan7777 here with another strategy guide or review of Soviet tanks. So as you can see here, I'm not getting the T-50, instead I'm getting I have the A-20. I have skipped a whole tier. I've skipped tier 3, since basically tier 3 is the same as tier 2 and tier 4 for the Soviet tanks. Soviet tanks are pretty simple for tier 4 even, and barely have any strategy like last time, except for the A-20. That is why the A-20, therefore, is granted the longest running time of any of these three tanks. So there is the A-20, the first, and then there is the T-28, and then the Su-85B. Now the A-20 has the same hull and I think same hull armor as the T-34. So hopefully it's a little bit different than the T-34, but as far as I can tell right at this moment, the A-20 plays pretty much the same as the T-34. So basically it's just a scout tank. For how much armor and health it has, that's pretty much all you can use the A-20 for. But there is a little bit of strategy with it. It has a more different light tank strategy because it is actually able, unlike most Russian light tanks, it is actually able to spot things, as you have already seen just a couple of seconds ago. And it is also able, unlike most Russian tanks, to do the shoot and scoot strategy, which is where you just go straight up to an enemy or on a sniping spot and shoot some people and hopefully get a kill and then leave immediately. I am a little bit more stubborn though on the part where I scoot away from the enemy. So that's pretty much the reason why I die so early in this video, is that I stay in the same spot a little bit too long. But basically, from what I'm doing in this video, you can see that it's actually possible to go straight forward towards the enemy and kill a person and then leave. Just like I did right there. I killed 2 people in that specific spot, and then I decided to leave, although the choices that I make after this aren't really that great. I go straight for the enemy, of course. Another thing you can do with the A-20 is the same thing you can do with the Chaffee, and some other more tier 5 light tanks, is you can circle an enemy and distract him, and you may actually be able to penetrate them, or you may not. So basically I just circled that M3 Leaf for a couple of seconds and I left, so he gets all turned around. That's a really good strategy for these light tanks, and hopefully you guys can use it. And that's pretty much all there is for the A-20. Now, the T-28 is an entirely different story. The T-28 is, actually has only 10 more HP than the A-20. And it does have one advantage over the A-20, and that is that it actually has the fully upgraded KV-1 turret. Even though it says it's a T-28 turret, in the packages it is actually the same as the KV-1 turret. So the turret does actually have some pretty decent armor, like most Soviet tanks, but the rest of the hull is pretty much crap. As you can see, this tank is semi-based off of the, at least in my book, it's semi-based off the medium 3 from British Lines. Now, this is not a very good advantage since the medium 3 has pretty much no armor, but the T-28 is actually pretty fast. The T-28 is also something that you should probably play exactly like the A-20, where you just go up and snipe a little bit and then leave. But if you're in a head-to-head confrontation, you're pretty much screwed, which you guys will see in a second here. So as you can see, I do have 122 millimeters of penetration, which is pretty good for tier 4, and you can see, it actually was able to penetrate the VK3001 3001H, and that's pretty much all there is for the T28. Pretty much nothing like the last video. Now the SU-76 is definitely a different story. It's pretty much hard to get any kills in this tank, I would say. It's like most Soviet tanks, its view range is not preferable. So doing sit back and snipe does not really work in this tank, as you guys will see here. That's the first thing that I try in this game. The second thing that I try is to go straight forward, and that doesn't really work either, since this tank has no armor and no HP. Even compared to like the A20 and the T28. As you can see on my radar, my allies are shooting at things that I can't even see, and I'm a sniper tank, which makes no sense. Basically, the SU-76B, sorry, SU-85B is a hard tank to play because it has not big enough view range to actually be able to snipe anything, but it does have enough damage to be able to do short confrontations on the head-to-head basis. As you will see, I'm actually going to try that. The problem is with the main problem with the Soviet tanks that this tank really suffers from is that at least just in the Xbox 360 version of World Tanks, the Soviet tanks that are tier 4 will end up in tier 5 and 6 games almost every time, and never a tier 4 game. So basically, when you're playing these tanks, you're gonna, at least for me, you're gonna end up being the lowest tier, and you're pretty much screwed from the beginning. Which really isn't very much fun. So my impressions of these tanks are that they're still pretty much the same as tier 2, which is that they kind of suck, and they do have lots of penetration. No, sorry, they don't have very much penetration, but they do have good damage. So I'll see you guys next time with my review for the KV-1.